Alright, what's up guys? So today we're going to start on a new little kind of like mini build series. Just like with previous videos with my SC, how we dropped the subframe, did all new control arms and basically diff and everything like that. We're doing the same exact thing but on Matt's IS now. So we haven't posted too many videos and stuff about Matt's IS, which we probably should. But we turboed it, we built a motor for it. We'll do more of an overview once the subframe is all set. But so we have it up on the lift. Matt's here. He's gonna do most of the work. And yeah, like I said, you guys haven't really seen much of this car on this channel, but you guys are about to see a lot of it. But basically, we're gonna start dropping the exhaust. We're gonna get the subframe out. Our goal is to get it out tonight, and then in a couple seconds, we'll show you guys all the goodies over there. And so then one other thing we're actually doing, like I said about the diff, is that this diff that's in there right now was a welded diff that we just quickly welded before a drift event. But I think it was, what, at the drift event that it broke? Right?
No, it broke after I dailied it for a while. It was fine for the drift event. My axle blew out on that drift day.
Oh, that's right. Yep, the axle. Yeah, so he's missing a couple.
It was this one, we replaced that one, and then this one.
He's missing some axle bolts and stuff. The rear end on this car needs some love. It needs some love, and we're gonna give it the love that it deserves. But yeah, so we're gonna be throwing in a factory LSD rear diff because Matt wants to mostly daily this car with some track use. So we're gonna throw a factory LSD in. We're gonna refresh that a little bit with some bushings, and basically exactly like the SC, we're gonna do all the bushings, just basically all the control arms. We got new coilovers. Thank you to ISC, and we're gonna make this thing handle good. Yeah. Alright, so this is all of Matt's goodies that he got. So he went Figs engineering with literally everything besides the sway bar and the coilovers. But Matt basically opted for literally everything that Figs can get in the higher horsepower rating suspension pieces. So the lower control arms and the front traction rods. He already has their toe arms and the sway bar end links on his car. So this is basically everything now besides the upper control arms. And those, do they even make them for your car? The Figs?
Do they make a what?
The upper control arm?
They do have a, I don't know if Figs makes it, but he has an option for some sort of upper arm. Yep. But
so all of these arms, everything that Figs makes is actually built to order, basically. So Matt had to wait like a month or so to get them.
Literally just about a month or so. And during heavy tax season, I know.
Yeah.
He was probably doing a lot of orders around now.
So literally all the control arm stuff is built to order, and Super Pro, like Figs gets the Super Pro bushings for the control arm, not the control arms, the diff and the subframe. And then just some factory front ball joints.
Front ball joints, which is kind of different, but we're going to do them anyway.
Yeah. And then obviously ISC coilovers, which we're going to unbox right now.
And that's either front or rear set.
Yeah.
Rear set out. Get that guy out of there.
So Matt went with the Street Sport ones, I think. Yeah, Street Sport. So those are the ones comfort-wise that I have on my ISF. And actually I think what the SC has also. And they ride super nice. They still have the 32-way adjustability. And the dampening, you can still tighten up the dampening and you could track it. But these are going to be really nice on the street. They still make a softer version, which would just be their straight comfort ones. But the just about what everybody gets is the Street Sport because it has the widest range for track or for street.
Well, and you said that you can actually stiffen the Street Sport up quite a bit, even when we go on track. So, best of both worlds, right?
Plus, this is a performance car anyway, so you want it to still be sporty on the street.
Well, most of the time I'll be driving on the street.
Yeah. So we just got all the coilovers out. Now we're just going to get a picture. And then we'll actually start doing some work. Matt was just saying how it's funny how we're going to take most of our time tonight just staring at all the parts, but this is the this is where all the money goes. So we gotta appreciate all of this stuff right now when it's out, when it's all nice and clean. Because then once you start dailying that thing, it ain't gonna be clean anymore.
No, it's gonna be super dirty and grimy.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna get a couple pictures, stare at it a little bit longer, and then we'll start working on that thing. All right. So Matt just got the catback off, the drive shaft off, and we just disconnected the e-brake cables. So now we're going to take the wheels off, and we can probably bring the car down to undo the upper coilover mounts in the trunk, and then probably take the sway bar off. It'll probably be easier to take it off right now than when it's on the ground.
Okay.
And then just undo this height control connector, and then we're gonna have to take the calipers off. And that should be about it. We're gonna start unbolting some subframe stuff to get it out. Should be fairly simple. Okay, so we just got the wheels off. We're gonna get the calipers off, but before we do that, we're gonna undo the upper coilover mounts. Just right there, and then same on this side. The cover's still blocking it, but we got it moved just enough so then Matt can get to it. So we're just gonna get those off. Coilovers, upper coilover mounts will be done from that point. We'll get the just calipers moved out of the way, and then we're pretty much all set to get the subframe and the diff dropped out. We'll probably bring it back up all the way just to double check everything, and maybe loosen all the subframe bolts just to make sure they all come loose nice and easy before using the impact gun on them. But we're getting close. Diff is coming out, and the subframe's coming out a whole lot faster than Matt thought it would. But there's not really much to them, which is actually, for as big as a job you would think it would be, it actually goes by pretty quick. So we just got the calipers off either side. We just have them zip tied.
Why does this one not want to come out?
It will. It's probably the control arms are just like stuck. What we're gonna do, since with the subframe still in, we're gonna just make sure all the bolts come loose on this thing, just so then we're not fighting it when it's on the ground. So we're just gonna make sure everything just comes loose. We're gonna leave it all still attached, but just break everything free, and then we'll do the same for these subframe bolts. I'm sure they're gonna come out, but we'll just do them by hand at first just to make sure, and then we'll get this thing down on the ground and on like a dolly or something. You know, we could probably use our little wheelie table, and we'll just drop it right down on the diff, and then we'll just undo the bolts and it'll sit right there. We'll just lift it off after that.
Okay.
Alright, so we loosened up mostly everything. I still want to just try and get a ratchet on this to loosen these, but subframe bolts are coming loose. Matt's about to just loosen the front ones. We had to take some like kind of like gas tank slash like, I don't know, subframe support pieces, and then that's about it. Then we can start dropping the subframe.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Keep going.
Yep. Alright, so what we're going to do, since that we don't have a tranny jack or anything yet, we're going to use our little roll table thing. We're going to go right off the diff, and we're going to have Matt lower it down. And then we'll just basically have it resting on the table, and then we'll loosen the 4 subframe bolts, and then I'll hold one side of the subframe when Matt raises the car back up, with the subframe hopefully staying on the table. So we're going to try it out. Alright, so now we have the diff slash subframe resting on the table, and Matt's going to zip all 4 of the subframe bolts out, and then I'll hold the subframe when Matt lifts the car back up. And then we're going to see if this little tiny table that we have holds the weight. Which right now it is, and it has kind of the weight of the car on it. I will once we
Doesn't matter which one I do?
No.
There's a red Loctite on this one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was already dropped.
I see the top of the table flexing a little bit.
Lord.
Let's keep going. It'll only be on there for a little bit.
That friggin' shopping cart's meant to hold like 20 pounds of dishes.
Yeah, well, now it's gonna hold like 100 pounds of subframe and diff.
Yeah, I'm not trusting that.
Okay. So now we'll have you lift it up and I'll hold the subframe.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars. The dark.
Alright, so we got the subframe down. And we're just going to start taking the coilovers off. And start just stripping some of the control arms off and stuff too. Just so we can flip it over and we'll try and get the diff off. Just basically trying to get the subframe stripped down to just the subframe. So then next time he could start cleaning it and get ready to paint it. And then after that we could start throwing all the bushings and control arms and stuff in. Alright, so we just got the axles out. A lot of the bolts were loose. And a lot of them were actually bent. Probably what, like half of them that you had left were bent. So, like we were saying, this thing needed a rear end refresh pretty badly. So Matt's got to order up some new axle bolts that go into the diff. Opposite again, so it unwelded itself. And it makes a lot of noise.
And it vibrates like a motherfucker.
And it vibrates. So we're going to keep on going. We're going to get some... Hopefully we're going to try and get the knuckles off. And most, if not all, of the control arms off. So it's just a bare subframe by the end of the night. So we're going to keep on going. Alright, so we almost have this knuckle off. We ran into one problem that this... Which I was kind of expecting at least one or two to happen. Because this is a 200,000+ mile car. But...
13 years old.
And it's 13 years old.
Sorry, 18 years old.
18. But this bolt right here that goes through this bushing that's in the control, the knuckle is seized in the bushing itself. So it's a good and bad thing. Because bad because now we're gonna have to cut it out and we got to get a new bushing for it. But it's good because now he can upgrade to the Super Pro urethane bushing down here, which is actually the exact thing that happened with my SC. Same thing, the same bolt froze in there, and I had to cut it out and then press the bushing out and put in the urethane bushing. So it's good because now all of the bushings actually in the back are going to be replaced now.
Mm-hmm. Like 100% of everything.
Yeah, everything in the rear end is going to be new. So, and you can tell we put the subframe upside down so we could get to the diff. And a couple more of the subframe, a couple more of the control arms. So now this one's ready to come out, and then we'll get the other side. We'll get the diff out, and then we can flip it back over to get this upper control arm.
Let's get that knuckle off first.
Yeah. All right. So now we have both the knuckles off, all the control arms except for just the upper ones, which we gotta wait till we get the diff off, and all the bolts for the diff are now off. So try and take that heavy boy off of there.
This thing is not light. So this is going to be for scrap. That's like 75% of the problems right there.
Yep. All right. So now we can flip it back over, and we'll try and get those upper control arms out.
So much later.
All right. So there we go. We just luckily all four of the bolts for those upper control arms came right out, so that was nice. So out of all of the bolts that we got off this entire job, we only have to cut 2 of them out, which is pretty much what I expected. Maybe
I would expect a little bit more.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's probably gonna be about it for tonight. Now we're just gonna clean up, and then a lot of cleanup for the body on this thing because of all the different fluid leaks that have happened.
Axle grease, diff fluid. Flew everywhere on this car.
Yeah. Alright, so Matt and I were on this thing for like, what, 3.5 hours? around that. I'd say around 3.5 hours, and we got the whole subframe out apart, and basically we're ready to clean and just get everything back together. There's a couple things that we needed to order, so we're gonna have to wait on that to do like final install. The next video we're gonna be cleaning everything up, probably mocking a lot of this stuff up, like to the control to the subframe, just to get everything good. We gotta do the rear diff. We gotta get some bushings pressed into that thing, and that'll probably be next episode for the IS. So till then, don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and see you later. See ya.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet